Okay, Rabotai, this week we have Parshat Mattot and Mussar. Okay, so Parshat Mattot starts off the second pasuk. In the middle of the pasuk it says, Lo yachel devaro, kechol hayotze mipiv ya'aseh. What does this mean? He should not desecrate his word. Right? You got to be a man of your word. You say something, you got to be it. According to whatever comes from his mouth, shall he do. The Zohar explains that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu made Adam HaRishon, what does it say in the Parsha? It says in Sefer Bereshit, Parsha Bereshit, and he blew into his nostrils the soul of life. Right? And the Zohar explains that when one blows from himself into another, what goes into them? Themselves, right? The part of themselves. So it means that the soul, the neshama that we have, is God-given, meaning it comes directly from Hashem. And the Targum Onkelos defines the Ruach Memala as a speaking spirit, meaning speech is the neshama that Hashem put into us. Okay, the speech. Now, speech is there's what's amazing about speech is that there are other animals that communicate also. Dolphins, monkeys, they can communicate. They can make warning sounds that the predators are coming and stuff like that. But it's only the human speech that we can talk in abstract. We can talk in thoughts. We can talk in things that you can't see, right? And stuff that you can't necessarily notice. We have a special form of language. But the power of speech is so holy because it is the vehicle which the soul of man, which is a chelik Elokai mimal, which is part of Hashem's essence, is transmitted into the person. Meaning that what makes us a person is our power of speech, which is the neshama that Hashem put into us. In fact, here you can tell, from this example, a person can tell the greatness of a speech. In 9 words, a person can take someone that's mutar to all and make her forbidden to all. Right? With 9 words. What are those 9 words? There's 9 magic words. He can give her the ring without those words. It's not kiddushin, right? He has to give those words. He has to say those words as he gives the ring or whatever jewelry he gives or whatever shava pruta he gives, right? And those 9 magic words now made her asur to everyone else and made it his wife. And everyone says mikudeshim, 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 because the power of speech has the capacity to create all sorts of things. But we also have to realize, since speech is so powerful, it also has the capacity to destroy. There's a story that's told of a woman whose husband, unfortunately, frequently insulted her. She would respond angrily, and it would become more of an explosion. So this woman spoke to her rabbi, who gave her advice. And this is not the advice of swishing the water. You ever heard that one? You didn't hear that one? You heard that one? The rabbi once gave an advice to a woman that she said her husband always was getting in a fight with her, and they would get back and forth. So the rabbi said, whenever your husband gets in a fight with you, take a cup of water and swish it in your mouth for 5 minutes. Right? And she comes back to the rabbi. To her mouth. Take a water and swish it. She comes back to the rabbi and says, why? Baruch Hashem, the fights have been much less. Right? Why? Because she's not talking back. She's swishing the water instead. But no, that wasn't the advice of this time. This time the rabbi said that every time your husband says something hurtful to you, take a hammer, take a nail, and bang it into a piece of wood. Okay? And one day her husband sees her knocking in another nail into this wood. She says, what's this? He says, every time you are mean to me, instead of being mean to you, I knock a nail into this wood. And he looks at it and he sees hundreds of nails there. He's really, that's how bad I am? Sometimes people don't notice it until they actually see a result. And he says, I have to make it up to you. So he speaks to the rabbi, and the rabbi says, you know what? Every time your husband's now nice to you, pull out a nail. And so he worked very hard, and he was nice for a long time, and all the hundreds of nails got pulled out. And when they look at the board at the end, what do they see? There's no more nails, but there's a bunch of holes. Meaning that although you try to make it up, you can't fully fix it. The words have already been there. And it's very important, and that's why, especially women, they have a very good memory. They'll always bring it up, right? Even though you said I'm sorry and you moved on and everything like that, but that hole is still there, right? So try not to dig that hole before you're going to fall back in there again, right? So he says, yes, the nails are gone, but look at all the holes that are left in the wall. Harsh words leave deep holes in the heart. Sticks and stones, right, can break my bones, right? They say sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. It's very, very not true. Okay, sticks and stones, you break your bones will heal up. Okay, and you'll forget about it. Most people, they forget they got hit, this hurt, that. The body has the ability to heal, but words, they stay forever. And you'll see all these criminals, they'll say, oh, my dad used to scream at me and yell at me. My mom never loved me and all these things, right? And that's what made them go on a path of terrible stuff. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they say. And the truth is that words makes a very big difference. But let's take a look.
There's no excuses. They just want to put something to blame it on.
Yes and no. I mean, you can't excuse your actions, but you can definitely excuse your feelings and emotions based on what's happening from the past. But at the end of the day, you are responsible for your final actions. Now, there is another aspect over here. We have to understand that the words are so powerful. Sometimes people like to use words not realizing how powerful they are. Meaning, people like to say, and you'll tell me if it's true or not. Sometimes a person will say, someone asks them, why didn't you come here? Why didn't you come there? Why didn't you there? Oh, I wasn't feeling well. They were feeling fine. What happens the next day? They get really sick. Why? Right? Because they say it. They open their mouth. They don't realize that the power of the words. Okay? Rabbi Chanan Wasserman, Tzaddik Baracha, once asked a certain Jew in the town to do him a favor for a certain individual. The man said he didn't have any energy. Rabbi Chanan then meets him again. This time, this man looked completely exhausted, having no energy whatsoever. He saw Rabbi Chanan. He said, Rabbi Chanan, look what's happening to me, this and that. And Rabbi Chanan tells him, you brought this upon yourself with your own mouth. If you recall, when I asked you to do a favor for somebody, you said you had no energy. You have no energy. Hashem made it that you have no energy. Be very careful with the words that you say. But Chaim Vital says a further beautiful idea on this pasuk. Chaim Vital says, Lo yachel divaro, if a person doesn't profane his words, then Hashem will do everything that He says. Right? How do tzaddikim have the power to give barachot? How do tzaddikim, they say something, it happens. Right? Even if they didn't mean it, it happens. Why? Because when you watch your words very well, and everything you commit to, right? You stick to it, then Hashem makes it that your words come true, that they happen. So it's very important to have this. Now, a lot of times people are praying, they're davening, they're saying all good words, and nothing's working out. Why is that? I thought whatever I say, it works. How come it didn't work? So he brings over here a story in the Pnim al Torah. He says there was a visit once. The king of Germany met with the Tsar of Russia, and when they met, the Russian monarch prepared a lavish supper, lavish dinner, and one of the dishes they prepared was kishka, stuffed derma. And the German monarch really loved it. So he told his chef, figure out how to make it. So they told him, you take an intestines of the animal, you stuff it up with different spices and food, and that's what you serve. So the German chef comes back, the German king comes back home. He tells the chef, prepare for me kishka. Prepares it for him, brings it out, and it smells terrible, and it tastes disgusting. So he says, do it again. You messed it up. He tries it again. It comes out even worse. So he says, right back to the Russian chef. They brought back to the Russian chef. And the Russian chef says to him, tell me how you did it. He says, well, I took the intestines, I emptied it out, and I filled it up. He says, stop right there. You know what you did wrong? You were supposed to wash out the intestines, right? You have to wash it out. You have to wash it out a minimum of 5 times, right? And you have to use special waters and stuff like that. Get all the stuff out, and then you fill it up. Says the Peninim al Torah. The same thing applies to our mouth. We speak words of Torah, we pray to Hashem, and then we say, what happened? Nothing worked out. 1 second, how were you using your mouth right beforehand? What did you eat? What did you say? How did you behave? What did you do with that mouth? Where did you put that mouth? How did you do with it? What did you say with it? Right? And now you want it to work. You got to wash it out well. You got to do the right thing with it. It's important to realize this, that the mouth requires to be holy, and our speech requires to be holy. I want to mention one more aspect of this. Keeping your word is not just good, sportsmanship, being a good guy, keeping your word. But in fact, keeping your own word gives you a boost of self-confidence. Why is that? A lot of times people have all sorts of plans and stuff. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Right? And then they never get around to doing it. So they even though you might not feel like a complete failure, you give up on yourself, so to speak. Like, I keep saying it, but it never happens. Right? But if a person keeps to what he says and he gets it done, right? I'm gonna clean out the shed. I'm gonna go through this room. I'm gonna learn an extra 20 minutes. And he sticks to it, and he does it. What does he feel like afterwards? Baruch Hashem, I said it, I did it, right? And we know success breeds success. One time you do something, you're able to do another thing, right? Because you've already done it. Being able to keep to your word is a self-success strategy, all right? It gives you self-confidence. There's a beautiful story that it was the end of the semester, and it was the day of the final. And the professor walks into the college class and tells them, listen, guys, I had an amazing day, amazing semester teaching you. And so I'm giving everybody a chance, okay? If you don't want to take the final, you can leave now and you'll get a B. Anyone who wants to leave can leave and you'll get a B in the class. Okay? Very good. A lot of kids were very happy and a lot of the kids left. But a few kids stayed by and they didn't leave. They had to take the final. And the professor looks at them and says, I'm glad to see that you believe in yourself and you believe you can get an A. Well, all of you who stayed don't have to take the final, but you get an A. Okay? Those who walked out and didn't believe in themselves, they get a B. Those who believe in themselves and stayed, they get an A. Because if you have that self-confidence, I can do it, you'll be able to do it. It's important to realize a vow, making a neder, making a shua, saying a word, must come from within yourself. You have to have the confidence. You have to have the ability to do that. We don't take words cheaply. We don't just say things. We have to be serious with the words. We have to be careful with our words. And if we do this, Hashem should answer all of our prayers, all of our words, and we see the good Shalem of Amen.